Hi there, this is Solitaire Ronan from Solitaire Ronan Films, and welcome to another backlog cleared video. And today the backlog that I've cleared are my Steelbook collection. A couple of notes: my Eureka Masters of Cinema Steelbooks I keep in my Eureka Masters of Cinema section because they're numbered, so they won't appear in this video. And also I did buy a kind of job lot of Steelbooks off of eBay a couple of years ago, so there may be a couple of titles, you can guess which ones they are, that once I've cleared my ultimate backlog I will be going through my collection and perhaps moving on from a few titles, but answers in a postcard for which titles they will be. So I'm just going to go through the A to Z Steelbooks that I have, and then the Mondo Steelbooks, the Steelbooks I have in my Thing range. Obviously there's a Holy Grail, two Holy Grail Steelbooks from the Thing that I'm missing, and the Universal Monsters Alex Grey Steelbooks. So let's just start with a BFI Steelbook of Werner Herzog's Aguirre Wrath of God, one of Herzog's masterpieces. Fairly basic Steelbook, even though it does have a nice booklet. Next is the Alien Anthology. So this is the 4 films, and they're all on individual discs, which is obviously a lot handier, and they all have both cuts of each film. Next is Apocalypse Now, again fairly bog standard Steelbook. Again this has 2 cuts of the film, and I'm not sure whether this edition has Hearts of Darkness as well, but it's got the 2 cuts of the film. Next is Denis Villeneuve's wonderful Arrival. Which is quite a murky inside. Next is Battle Los Angeles, which is fairly jingoistic nonsense, but at the end it's actually strangely moving. Next is Tom Hanks in Big, which has a director's cut, which does actually have F-bombs in it, which I was just never aware that Big had F-bombs in it, but if you watch the director's cut it's got F-bombs. Black Butler, which is a fun anime adaptation. Ridley Scott's Black Hawk Down. Blade of the Immortal, Takashi Miike. This is an Arrow Steelbook. Again, I keep my Arrow Steelbooks in with the Steelbooks rather than in with my Arrows, just because they're not numbered or anything. That one has a booklet as well. Blade Runner 2049, Denis Villeneuve. I was actually really impressed with this. I wasn't really looking forward to it when it came out, just because I love the original, but it actually really impressed me. This includes the 3D disc. I have no 3D capabilities, amongst one of my many failings. The Bourne Legacy, which, just to be a contrarian, this might actually be my favourite Bourne film. John Singleton's Boys in the Hood. Singleton, who sadly died way too early. Buried. Simple but effective. But less said about Ryan Reynolds. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Perhaps hasn't aged that well. The film, not the Steelbook. Byzantium. A really nice vampire film with Neil Jordan. Gemma Arterton. If you haven't seen Byzantium, I would highly recommend it. It's a really nice little vampire film. Speaking of Neil Jordan, The Company of Wolves. The wonderful back image there. Nothing in the inside. Crimson Peak. A long way off from being Del Toro at his best, but still a nice little film. The Dark Knight Rises, which I think I got for really cheap money, that's why I have it. Easily the least successful of the three films. Day of the Dead, Romero's version, and there's the iconic image in the booklet. The Day the Earth Stood Still, again the original, not the awful Keanu Reeves remake. Deliverance. Or Don't Carry On Camping. And Demons. And Demons 2. Again, this is an Arrow Steelbook. I won't be bothering with... Well, I didn't obviously bother with 4K because I don't have 4K capabilities, another one of my weaknesses. But I wouldn't really bother upgrading the new Arrow releases of these films because they're okay, but they're... I'm not like the biggest fan of them or anything. The Descent, Neil Marshall's best film by some distance. The Die Hard collection. Which sadly does include the fifth one. District 9 by Blomkamp. This one has a booklet. Don't Look Now. By Nick Rogue, of course. Jewel. This is from HMV's kind of Japanese lettering series. I didn't have Jewel on Blu-ray or even DVD, so I decided to pick this one up. Still one of Spielberg's best films. The Eagle Has Landed, which again has a director's cut that I didn't actually know existed. Fun little film. Elysium, another Neil Blomkamp. With Matt Damon. End of Watch. I seem to be a secret Jake Gyllenhaal fan because I do seem to have rather a lot of Jake Gyllenhaal films. This is written and directed by David Ayer, and this is actually a perfect example of a test audience film. Go watch the alternate ending that's on this disc because it's way better than the theatrical ending. I would have changed other things as far as the ending's concerned, but a prime example of what test audiences can do as far as changing endings. Luc Besson's The Extraordinary Adventures of Adele Blanc-Sec, which is an absolutely gorgeous film. A lot of fun. Flash Gordon, yes, I have another version of Flash Gordon. This one includes the soundtrack by Queen, obviously, as does the fairly bland inside of the case though. But next is The Fly, the 1958 original, which has still got that creepy ending. That's a spoiler in the inside cover, apologies. This is the Scream Factory of John Carpenter's The Fog, which kind of opens out like that. If I had ridiculous amounts of money, I would try and get all the Carpenter Scream Factory steelbooks, but I don't have that much money. Gang Related with Jim Belushi and Tupac Shakur. It's okay. Ghoulies 1 and 2. On separate discs. Lahane. Still pretty powerful after all these years. The Hatchet Trilogy. This is a German steelbook of the 3 Hatchet films. And as you could probably guess, this is probably a steelbook I will be moving on from. Hellraiser 1, 2 and 3. Yes, I have it in several different editions, but I just love that steelbook. Look at that beautiful artwork. Again, they're on separate discs. I just loved the artwork and I couldn't really resist because I'm that sad. Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. And there's Michael Rooker having fun with the director. What a crazy guy. Still powerful after all these years. Cuts through all the glossy serial killer film nonsense. Bong Joon-ho's The Host. Or a monster movie with a brain. House of the Flying Daggers. It's okay, but again gets really silly at the end, I feel. Infestation, which is silly all the way through, but it's a fun little creature feature. A nice turn by Ray Wise. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, which is more Guy Ritchie taking well-known stories and giving it the Guy Ritchie treatment. That's all I'll say. It's another Arrow Steelbook. This is the first two Lady Snowblood films, not the Lady Blow Slud. They're completely different films. They are, I was going to say they're both, yeah, both films on one disc. Last Stand, Schwarzenegger. I have this because it is Kim Ji-woon's so far only delve into Hollywood, and he went straight back to Korea afterwards. It's okay, probably should have been better. Late Phases, which is a really nice low budget werewolf film. The Lobster, one of my favourite films of the 21st century. A Yorgos Lanthimos masterpiece, as far as I'm concerned anyway. One of those films that when I first saw it just absolutely blew me away. But like pretty much all of Lanthimos, you're probably going to dig it or not dig it. Lone Ranger, again another film that was absolutely pelted and was a box office disaster, but I actually think it's quite good. Again, full of genocide and a lot darker than people probably thought it was going to be. It's obviously far from perfect, but I like the kind of nods to Once Upon a Time in the West. Not perfect, but a lot better than people gave it credit for when it came out. Luc Besson's Lucy with Scarlett Johansson. Again, daft, but quite enjoyable. Monsters. Again, another low budget monster movie that's actually rather effective. Still haven't seen the second one. Oblivion with Tom Cruise and Morgan Freeman. It's quite a nice cover. And the film's okay. Once Upon a Time in the West. Enough said. As you probably all know, in the argument for my favourite film of all time. The Orphanage. Really creepy Spanish ghost story with a wonderful sting in the tail. It's another Arrow Steelbook. That Brian De Palma's amazing Phantom of the Paradise, which does have a wonderful artwork on the covers. Piranha with Joe Dante. Again, beautiful artwork. It's the Second Sight. Christopher Nolan's The Prestige. One of his best ones. Again, quite dark. Priest. Complete nonsense with Paul Bettany. Now, did I get this in the job lot or did I not? You can decide. A Prophet. Really brutal French prison movie. Quatermass in the Pit with wonderful artwork. You can't go wrong with that. Quatermass in the Pit, lovely. Two guesses what that is. Yep, it's Red Shoes. I mean, sometimes Steelbook covers only need to be really simple but effective. And that is so simple but absolutely iconic, and you immediately know what that is a Steelbook of. That's how to do Steelbooks right. The Red Turtle, the only Studio Ghibli film I have. It's a lovely little film. Not sure it's for kids though, but Requiem of a Dream by Aronofsky. Lovely little film, not sure it's for kids though. Rurouni Kenshin 2, Kyoto Inferno. I'm really quite annoyed because I don't have the original on Steelbook, because it's now ridiculous money. I think there is actually going to be a fourth one out. Rurouni Kenshin 3, The Legend Ends apparently, even though there's going to be a fourth one out. Okay, the back's plain. So I'm a little bit bummed that I don't have the first one on Steelbook as well. I don't even have the first one on Blu-ray. I need to pick that up on Blu-ray at some point. Seven Samurai. It's a BFI Steelbook. Again, simple but effective. Cronenberg Scanners. Again, it's got a basic inside. De Palma's Scarface. The Wonderful Serenity by Joss Whedon. For fans of Firefly. Going to go to the last pile and we'll see if I can do it without knocking everything over. Seven Psychopaths. Not that great a film really, it's a bit of a mess. But it does have a wonderful Christopher Walken impersonation in it. A Christopher Walken performance in it. Tom Waits even turns up. Shame about the rest of the cast because it's a bit of a mess. Shawshank Redemption. Three-disc edition. The two Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes films, which I actually enjoy. Again, they're complete nonsense, but they're actually a lot of fun. Cronenberg Shivers, or The Parasite Murders, or They Came From Within. This is an Arrow Steelbook with a booklet as well. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, lenticular cover. Swingers, Jon Favreau. Whatever happened to him? Stand Up Guys, Al Pacino, Christopher Walken, Alan Arkin, in a fun little old gangster film. For fans of the actors, it's a must buy. The Third Man in the conversation for my favourite film of all time. It's pretty much perfect in my opinion, and that ending is just spectacular. Takashi Miike's 13 Assassins. The Toxic Avenger. Again, answers on a postcard whether this was in the job lot or not. It's 88 film, Steelbook. The Three Burials of Miqueles Estrada. Tommy Lee Jones directed. It's a wonderful little film. It's a little modern gem. I would highly recommend checking that one out. Barry Pepper gives a good performance as well. The Wonderful Tremors. Not so wonderful back art. Theatre of Blood, Vincent Price. Again, this is an Arrow Steelbook. Vincent Price reciting Shakespeare. I mean, what else could you possibly want? With Diana Rigg. The Thin Red Line. In my opinion, the second best war film ever made. And a straight up masterpiece from Terrence Malick. Two 2001, A Space Odyssey. One of the few films that still leaves me with a sense of awe, no matter how many times I watch it. 30 Days of Night. One of the best modern vampire films with a really nice plot device. This is Spinal Tap. Another film that's just about perfect, and about the hour and a quarter of extras could be amalgamated into another film. Or into the same film, but make a 2.5 hour version. Vanishing Point, one of my favourite films of all time. It's just on a whole different level. I won't remove the disc just for spoilers if you haven't seen it. Voices with Ryan Reynolds, which is actually a lovely little serial killer film about mental illness, but for some reason they kind of sold it as a comedy, and it's not actually that funny. But if you actually just take it as a film about mental illness and psychopathy, it's actually very good. Withnail and I, arguably the greatest British film in the last 40 years. Again, one of the greatest comedies ever made, and there's no jokes in it. The Woman. I also have the Arrow edition, which has the prequel, which I have still to watch, obviously. And Takashi Kitano Zatoichi. The basic back and a fairly basic inside. So that's the A to Z Steelbooks. I'll just go through my Mondo Steelbooks now. Again, I'm not going to collect all of them. I've no intention of collecting all of them. There is one Holy Grail one missing, because that's the Mondo edition of The Thing, which is ridiculous money, so unfortunately it's going to be some time before I pick that up, if I ever do. So the first one is First Blood. This is spine number 3. For me, the only Rambo film that you actually need. Spine number 5 is Dread. Not the Stallone film, obviously. That's that out the sleeve. Number 11 is Total Recall, which obviously has had 4K treatment. It's nice artwork. Again, I don't have 4K capabilities, and probably won't until I ever get a PlayStation 5 perhaps. Total Recall. Number 13 is Reservoir Dogs, which does have rather nice artwork. Whatever happened to that Tarantino boy? Number 16 is Labyrinth. I'm the Goblin King. Wonderful Jim Henson. Number 19 is We Are X, which is a wonderful documentary about a Japanese metal band, which is tragic and hilarious at the same time. One of my favourite films of all time, The Jungle Book, and one of my favourite Steelbooks, because the artwork is quite beautiful. Again, I have went on record as saying if only Shere Khan had actually disemboweled Mowgli at the end, that would have made it possibly the greatest film ever made. But Disney always making strange decisions, I don't know. Number 31 is Pinocchio, which again they do have really nice artwork on these. Again, a film in places that's actually quite disturbing. I'm sure you're aware of those places. Number 32 is Alice in Wonderland, which again, lovely artwork on them. Number 35 is Aladdin. Again, there's a few more Mondos that I might pick up if I see them really cheap, but they do seem to be doing a lot more Marvel stuff, which obviously I'm not really that interested in. And finally, number 36, Toy Story. Again, nice artwork. And just a nice view of the skirting board on the inside. Don't worry, the end's in sight. So now I'm just going to show the 4 Steelbooks of The Thing that I have. Again, I'm really just missing 2 editions from my Thing collection. The Mondo Steelbook of The Thing and the Scream Factory Steelbook of The Thing, but both of them are stupid money, so there. Again, this is the HMV run on Japanese styled Steelbooks. That's the iconic image in the back, and this one has a poster. And then we have this really nice Steelbook. Again with the iconic image. Again, if you're unaware, I do have a thing about the thing. And this is an Arrow Steelbook, again with that. And man is the warmest place to hide, which sounds a bit creepy. That one comes with a booklet. And then this nice looking fellow in the front, and on the back it's that image that's overused, you could say, but then that one's got a nice image on the inside. So that's my 4 things, Steelbooks. So I'm just going to finish off with the Universal Monsters, Alex Gray artwork, and as you'll notice I'm missing one of them. You can guess which one it is, even though you'll also be able to work it out. Again, I'm kind of kicking myself because when I bought these ones it was round about like the 20 quid mark, and for some reason I didn't buy it with the other ones, and then of course I left it, and now it's like 78 quid. You can actually buy the box set of all the Steelbooks for that money. But it's wheels and roundabouts. I'm sure it'll probably go back down in price at some point. So the first one is The Bride of Frankenstein. See, it is just lovely artwork. Yes, you're buying Steelbooks just for the artwork. It helps that these films are wonderful as well, obviously. I wouldn't just buy a terrible film for just the artwork in the Steelbook. Creature from the Black Lagoon. Hopefully you can see that. Probably my least favourite out of the films. Dracula. Even though you could make the argument that the Spanish Dracula that's included in this disc is actually better. Probably my favourite one, yes, I'm odd. The Invisible Man. Look at that cover, wonderful. I take over the world. The Mummy. Again, not the strongest entry in the Universal Monster films, for me anyway. And finally, probably my second favourite one, The Wolfman. That's wonderful artwork as well. The detail's beautiful. Again, Lon Chaney as a tortured soul is just absolutely wonderful. And you kind of forget Claude Rains is in this one as well. So that is my backlog of Steelbooks cleared now. Yes, you can say Steelbooks are a bit of an extravagance. Obviously I have double dipped on a few films that I have in Steelbook as well as regular. But they are special films. Again, when I clear my big backlog, I will be reassessing my collection and getting rid of some stuff. But not at this stage, so there probably will be a few less Steelbooks in the future. I tend just to buy them if something catches my eye. I'm not, like I said, I'm never going to collect all the Mondos, but I will always be looking out for the Universal Monster that's missing, and obviously those 2 Thing Steelbook Holy Grails, if they reappear at a not crazy price. So thanks very much for watching as I clear another backlog. Unfortunately still got lots of backlogs to get through. Let me know in the comments below what your favourite Steelbook that you have is, or what your opinions on Steelbooks are, because it's sometimes a bit extravagant just for a bit of tin, but as long as the film's good, the artwork's nice, it's better than a poking eye with a sharp stick. So thanks very much for watching, and hopefully you'll join me again as I slowly plough through another backlog. This is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, saying cheerio.